I was as excited as a kid that had just finished chugging down an entire bag of sugar. As soon as the car pulled to a stop, I opened the door and leaped out, starting to run across the parking lot. In my haste, I tripped and fell first into the pavement, but I quickly leaped back up, brushed myself off, and continued my trek onwards. I was already at the door when I realized I left my DS in the car. I turned and started running back to the car. "Daddy! Daddy! My DS!" I urgently screeched to him as if we were under attack. "I got it," he called back to me as he got out of the car. I sighed in relief as I saw my beloved pink DS in his hands. "Gimme it," I told him as I raced up to him, trying to pry my treasure out of his grip. "No, I'm carrying it in. I don't want you breaking it, like you would have just a minute ago when you tripped and fell." I pouted and gave up. I sullenly walked back to the store with him. As soon as we stepped inside, he handed me my DS. I quickly snatched it from him and ran up to the counter, which my head could barely stand an inch taller than. "One Celebi, please," I called as I placed my sacred game device on the counter. The lady behind the desk stared at me funny. I tried brushing my messy hair with my hands and smoothed out my dirty shirt as best as I could. I looked up at her and then smiled. She continued to give me a strange look, then shrugged and turned my DS on. I giggled and hopped all around as she fiddled with my DS. After what felt like an eternity, she finally handed it back to me. I greedily snatched it from her and started playing, eager to train my new Pokemon. She said something to me, but I didn't listen. I started to walk out of Gamestop while playing my game. Instead of exiting, I successfully crashed straight into the glass wall. I fell backwards and collapsed onto the floor. "Ow! Stupid wall!" I got up and kicked the wall, leaving behind a footprint. I gently picked up my DS and walked out of the store. My dad stayed behind for a few moments, saying something to the lady, but I didn't care. As I walked across the parking lot back to the car, a truck had to veer around me to avoid running me over. "Watch where you're going!" I waved my fist in the air and shouted at the crazed driver. I scowled and continued my journey, eyes still glued to the screen of my game. When I reached the car, the door wouldn't open. I sighed and turned back to the store. Thankfully, my dad was already outside and about to walk across the car. "Daddy, unlock the car!" I yelled towards him. "Wait a minute," he called back. I frustratedly sighed again and waited for him to slowly make his way across. Eventually, he made it. He fooled around with his keys for a minute. After a moment, I heard the satisfying click as the car unlocked. "Thank you," I curtly said to him as I opened my door and crawled inside. As we drove off, my dad was saying something to me, but I tuned him out. All I was focused on was getting my Celebi. I gasped when I didn't see it in my party. I closed my eyes and concentrated for a moment. I then snapped my eyes back open when I remembered that I was supposed to go to the Pokemart. I happily hummed to myself as I ran to the Goldenrod City's huge Pokemart place. I talked to the delivery man. I didn't even pay attention to what he said and just skipped through all of his text. Once all was said and done, I opened up my party. I went into a squealing fit when I saw Celebi sitting at the bottom of my party. My dad sighed and gave up trying to tell me whatever he wanted to, and went back to focusing on driving. I was perfectly fine with that, and continued to fangirl over my new legendary. I switched my new Celebi to the front of my party, and then exited out of the menu. I ran out of the store and immediately turned around to face it. "Celebi seems great about walking with you." I talked to it again. A heart icon appeared above its head. "Whoa, Celebi suddenly hugged you." I squealed as I read that text. My Celebi already loves me. I raced out of the town and went into the tall grass. I ran into a wild Drowsy. "Pfft, that's easy to beat," I whispered to myself. I selected Fight and looked at the Celebi's moveset. Leaf Storm, Recover, Nasty Plot, and Healing Wish. I clicked on Leaf Storm. Leaves started swirling onto the screen and knocked out the Drowsy in one hit. Celebi's special attack lowered afterwards. The battle had ended. I opened the menu and looked at Celebi's summary. I clicked on its moves. I then realized that Leaf Storm was the only move that did physical damage, and it only had 5 power points. I decided I wouldn't use Celebi for battle much, but I still wanted to play with it. I took a moment to think about what I could do with it that didn't involve battling. While I was thinking, we pulled back into our driveway. For once, I calmly got out of the car and looked at where I was walking. I went into my room and closed my door, still pondering about what I could do. Then an idea had hit me. Pokeathlon! I shouted out loud as I jumped into my bed. I ran to the Pokeathlon dome and entered the speed contest. Celebi, Yam Yams the Yanma, and Dune the Dunsparce practically owned the entire competition. I entered the contest again. When I next checked the clock, I realized I'd been playing the game for an hour already. I decided that maybe I should take a break. Just as I was about to turn off the game, though, I received a call from the daycare man. He had an egg for me. I remember that I had a Ditto and an Eevee in the daycare that I had forgotten about. I raced back to Goldenrod City and went to the Pokemon Center. I put all my Pokemon in the PC except for Celebi. Once I was done, I went to the daycare man. After hurriedly skipping through lines of text, he handed me my egg. Alright, now we just gotta hatch it, I told my Celebi, despite the fact that I was talking to a bunch of data. I ran in circles for several minutes, then into Goldenrod, then back out. I clicked on the egg summary. It doesn't seem close to hatching. I sighed. This was going to take a lot longer than I originally thought. I decided I would randomly battle a Pokemon just for the heck of it. I ran into the tall grass and another wild Drowsy appeared. I clicked on Fight. I was about to select Leaf Storm, but I decided I would try out Nasty Plot just for the heck of it. I selected the move. Puffs of smoke and question marks appeared around Celebi, then a hand pointing upward popped above its head. Its special attack had Rose. Drowsy tried to use Hypnosis, but it missed. I selected Nasty Plot again for no reason. The smoke and question marks appeared once more, then the hand. Drowsy used Hypnosis again, but missed. I used Nasty Plot one more time just because I could. Same animation as before. Drowsy still attacked and missed. I used Leaf Storm this time around. The Drowsy fell with no problem. Celebi gained its boosted experience and the battle had ended. As soon as the screen went back to my character, I got a call. It was from the daycare man. He had another egg for me. I was only a few steps away from him, so it didn't take long to reach him. I talked to him and skipped through his text like usual and received my egg. As soon as I got my egg, an exclamation point appeared above Celebi's head. It nudged my trainer. She turned around. Celebi pointed to something in the distance. My trainer turned south and stared down the route. Celebi slowly inched toward my character, then quickly retreated. My trainer turned back towards Celebi. Nothing happened for a minute. Then I realized I was in control now. Well, that was weird, I muttered to myself. I talked to Celebi again. Celebi is a picture of innocence. I didn't really understand what that meant. I opened the menu and clicked on my party. Instead of 2 eggs like I was expecting, there was only 1. Where's my other egg? I exited the menu and talked to the daycare man to see if there was some kind of mistake. He informed me that my Pokemon were doing just fine and that they didn't seem to like each other. I pouted. I turned around and talked to Celebi again to see if it could maybe help me. Celebi is a picture of innocence. That information didn't help me much. I sighed and just gave up. I couldn't think of anything else that would help me get my egg back. I decided I would just run around and try to hatch the one I did have. After a couple of minutes of running in circles, I got another call from the daycare man. He said he had another egg for me. I was already standing by him, so I walked a few steps and spoke to him. He said the usual, then gave me my egg. As soon as I received it, though, an exclamation point appeared above Celebi's head. It nudged me the same way it did last time. My trainer turned to it. Celebi pointed to something in the distance. My trainer turned down the path again, and Celebi slowly inched toward her. My character turned back to Celebi, and I was in control again. I immediately went to my party. Again, there was only Celebi and 1 egg. What keeps happening to my other egg? I asked myself, which led to nothing. I exited out of the menu and talked to Celebi. Celebi is a picture of innocence. The same text appeared as before. I scowled and talked to it again. Celebi is a picture of innocence. Again, Celebi is a picture of innocence. No matter how many times I kept talking to it, it just said the same thing over and over again. I didn't know how to react. I was a little creeped out, but not much. I decided it would be best just to shrug it off and keep playing. I started running around a bit more, not really knowing what else to do. After a single minute, I got really bored and talked to my Celebi again. A question mark appeared above its head. Celebi is thinking, then an exclamation point. Celebi got an idea. I waited to see what it would do, but nothing happened. I clicked on my egg to see how close it was to hatching. Sounds can be heard from inside. It may be close to hatching. It was turning out to hatch a lot sooner than I had expected. I exited out of the menu and took one step. Oh? The text box appeared. It took me to the scene where my egg hatches. I squealed as I waited for my new Eevee to hatch. It cracked, and cracked again, and soon it popped open. Nothing was in the egg. Nothing hatched from the egg. Hey, what gives? I yelled at my DS as the screen started to fade away. Once it was back at my trainer, I looked at my party. There was only Celebi. I exited and talked to it. Celebi is a picture of innocence. I glared at it, wishing that it would fess up and admit that it had done something. I kept talking to it over and over, but this time it kept saying the same thing again. I eventually gave up. I ran into Goldenrod and went into the Pokemon Center. I went inside and talked to it one last time. Oh? Celebi is holding something. Take it? Yes or no? I was a bit shocked, and clicked yes. Celebi made an angry face. It seems too important to give up. I scowled and went to the PC. I put Celebi in and replaced it with my female Umbreon, Angel. I left the Pokemon Center and went to the Pokeathlon Dome. I thought that maybe if I played there for a while and left Celebi alone for a bit, then it might go back to normal. I entered a couple contests, but failed at most of them. I couldn't focus straight. After playing for about only 30 minutes, which isn't long for me, I left and went back to Goldenrod. I went back to the Pokemon Center. When I got into the PC, I gasped. None of my Pokemon were in there, except for Celebi. I selected Celebi and put it in the first slot of my party. I exited the PC and immediately talked to it. Celebi is a picture of innocence. I kept talking to it for several minutes, but it kept saying the same thing over and over. I was on the verge of just releasing Celebi. I went to check Celebi's summary to see if that had anything to do with it. I then realized that Celebi was still holding its item. I clicked on it. Couldn't receive the stake from Celebi. Stake? What the heck? I was now completely confused at everything that was going on. I scowled and exited the menu. I talked to Celebi one last time. Celebi is a picture of innocence. I highly doubt that. I walked out of the Pokemon Center. Not long after I had taken a few steps, I got a call. It was from Joey. He talked about his top percentage Rattata, as usual. When he was done talking, Celebi nudged my trainer. Celebi wants to meet Joey, yes or no? I selected no and continued walking. I was still pretty fed up at Celebi having gotten rid of all my Pokemon, and I wasn't about to cater to its requests. But after a few more steps, Celebi nudged my trainer again. Celebi wants to meet Joey, yes or no? I selected no once more, then walked a few more steps. But I was stopped once again. Celebi wants to meet Joey, yes or no? I sighed and selected yes. I didn't really have much to lose anyways. My trainer started to spin like when you used an escape rope. She teleported right in front of Joey. He started talking to my trainer without me pressing anything. Hi, want a battle? I wasn't given a yes or no option. Instead, Celebi snuck up behind Joey, then quickly flew back to my trainer. I was then given a yes or no option. I selected yes, thinking it was the best answer. The battle started. Joey threw out a Pokeball, but instead of his prized Rattata coming out, nothing appeared on the screen. My trainer threw Celebi out. Before I could select anything, Joey's sprite moved on the screen. My Rattata! Where is he? The battle then slowly faded to black. Once it got back to the trainers, Joey had spoke. "My Rattata! He's gone!" Joey's sprite started moving around, as if he was searching for his lost Pokemon. I immediately turned to Celebi. Celebi is a picture of innocence. I was getting really annoyed at this thing, even more than I already was. Celebi suddenly flew away from my trainer. I was wondering what it ran away for. That was when I noticed the Pokedex, trainer card, bag, and Pokegear options in the menu were missing. I growled out loud and started to chase after Celebi. It was waiting for me just off screen. As soon as it saw me though, it started to fly away. I chased it in circles for several minutes, but it was always much faster than my trainer. After a few moments, Celebi floated up to my trainer. I talked to it. Celebi is a picture of innocence. I wanted to strangle that legendary so badly right then. I opened the menu and looked at my party. Angel was missing. Alright, that's the last straw! I gripped my DS so tight that I nearly broke it in two. I exited out of the menu and thought about what to do for a moment. That was when one of the biggest light bulbs ever went off in my head. I turned my DS off. I hadn't saved the game since I had received Celebi from the delivery man, which I was very thankful for now. I sighed in relief, thankful for it all to be over. I turned my DS back on. When I got to the menu, I selected continue. When it had finished loading though, my trainer was standing in the middle of virtually nothing. Everything was black. Before I could react properly, Celebi floated up to my trainer. I talked to it. Celebi is a picture of innocence. A heart icon appeared above his head. Then it quickly floated away, and my game froze. I tried moving, pressing every button, but nothing would work. I turned my DS off, hoping that my save file will work this time around. When it loaded back up, I selected continue. The save file has been corrupted. I threw my DS to the side and screamed into my pillow. I wildly thrashed my arms and legs around, like a possessed child. Once I had finished letting my anger out and my throat had become sore from too much screaming, I sat up. Tears began streaming down my face. I sat there and cried my heart out. After several minutes, I stopped crying, although still sniffling. I grabbed my DS. I went back to the menu and selected New Game. When it loaded, I was shocked to see that I was in Goldenrod City, with Angel right next to me. As soon as I took one step, I got a call from the daycare man. He said that he had an egg for me. I ran to the daycare. I talked to the daycare man, slowly going through his text this time, and I received my egg. Afterwards, I opened my party to look at my egg, just to make sure that it was still there. When I opened it, though, I scowled at what I saw. Celebi was in front with the egg next to it. I exited out of it to find Celebi standing right next to my trainer. An exclamation point appeared above Celebi's head. Celebi pointed to something in the distance. My trainer turned to face down the path, and Celebi slowly inched toward her, then quickly retreated. My trainer turned back around to face it. I checked my party, and sure enough, the egg was gone. I exited and talked to Celebi. Celebi is a picture of innocence.